So now I own two books about a horse that lived 100 years ago. So once again, I'm talking about Black Gold, the 1924 Kentucky Derby winner owned by Osage Nation Alati Rosa Hoots. I recently finished reading Dream Derby, The Myth and Legend of Black Gold by Avalyn Hunter. This was a book that came out late last year in 2023, talking about Black Gold's story. It's an effort to take a much more academic, research-oriented approach than Marguerite Henry did with the 1957 book Black Gold. The fact that it's published by the University Press of Kentucky might indicate that. It's a much more dense and detailed book than Black Gold by Marguerite Henry. And I know some people might scoff at that comment and be like, well, obviously Black Gold by Marguerite Henry is a children's book. Well, maybe so, but it was the closest thing Black Gold had to an official biography for the longest time. So I am glad that I bought the book, given that I've done so many videos on Black Gold and done so much research on him and his owner. Nonetheless, it's a difficult book to review or grade. How much you like it is going to depend on your interest in the subject matter. I would say people who like horses, like history, are probably gonna like it a little better. For someone who's not that deeply invested in the subject matter, it's probably worth just the type of book you check out from the library, to be honest. It's a good book and resource for me because I've done so many YouTube videos on Black Gold, but it's probably not something the average reader is going to read over and over again. It is a rather dry book in terms of its presentation, even though it's got this nice photo on the cover. Once you get past the intro, there are no pictures in the book. Also, this book gets so detailed about Black Gold's racing history that, frankly, it gets hard to keep track of all the races after a while. I think some sort of graphic chart or list showing his racing history would have been a good resource to refer to. Thankfully, this book does come with an index, so that makes it more helpful to find information. An example of the dense and additional information that this book has compared to Black Gold by Marguerite Henry. It turns out, I was not aware of this, but apparently Black Gold's dam, or mother, you see it, actually foaled two other horses prior to Black Gold. They were named Tulsa and Tuscola, and I don't think they're even mentioned in Black Gold by Marguerite Henry. So there are a lot of nitty-gritty details that were left out of Marguerite Henry's book that are mentioned in Dream Derby by Avalyn Hunter. As far as that story about Black Gold's dam, you see it being entered in that claiming race in Juarez, Mexico, and then Al Hoots refusing to turn her over. In Black Gold, the story is he chases the guy off with a gun, and while Dream Derby acknowledges that as a colorful story. According to Hunter, this account of the guy being chased off with a gun didn't even first appear until 1924, years later. The bottom line is that Hoots refused to honor the race results, and thus his horse became ineligible. Thus, no more racing for You See It. Oh, by the way, that business about Rosa's Kentucky Derby trophy being stolen from her Tulsa home. Dream Derby briefly mentions that in the epilogue, but the year given in the book is 1933, whereas in that recent news report from Louisville, it was 1935. 1930s nonetheless. So that's my overview of Dream Derby by Avalyn Hunter. I will be hanging on to my copy of this book for research purposes. So thank you for watching, and please click like and subscribe.